Hello there, glorious people of YouTube. My name is Katie and you're watching my channel Superconsole. Today we're doing Import Watch. It's a series where I talk about Japanese games which have recently launched, which may or may never get a release in the West. Today on Import Watch I'm here with my girl Bulma and wearing my t-shirt because we're going to be talking balls. The dragon kind. That's right, Dragon Ball Fusions has just released on the Nintendo 3DS in Japan and we're going to be looking at what we make of it and if it's worth importing. My copy, personally, is making its way over very slowly by Japanese snail mail, so hopefully in the coming days or weeks or months I'll be able to play that. Dragon Ball Fusions is the latest Bandai Namco Ganbarion developed 3DS RPG game for the DB series, where players can fuse characters. The game promises to be filled with characters you'd never even dreamt of fusing and their resulting ridiculous names, like Krillin, Piccolo and Krillin, or Karori, Kakarot, our boy Goku, and Broly, pronounced the same way as calorie in Japanese, or even Kurigohan, a blend of Gohan and Krillin and a wonderfully punny play on the Japanese word for chestnut rice. The RPG is of course set in a DB universe where time and space have apparently fused, and so have apparently all the DB series, meaning you can add party members from your team from the very first DB series up until Super, so put that convoluted canon timeline of yours back on the shelf immediately. The game's focus is of course largely on fusion characters, using Capsule Corp made bracelet which can form new X fusions which weren't possible before. You must gather and train a variety of super warriors and create your dream fusions, beyond the restrictions of the manga or anime. Why are they doing this? Because the protagonist character Anpinich summons Shenron to make a wish to create the strongest Budokai in the universe, so all the worlds of DB become fused so they can take part in the Jikuichi Budokai. I've scoured the trailers and only so far caught brief glimpses of our girl Bulma in them, so I think she might be an NPC again, which is a shame because I had this fantastic dream of fusing Bulma and Piccolo and making Picoruma, as I'm going to call her, or maybe Barumilo, yeah. I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately, although they did say that you could fuse humans, but I'm not sure that's going to be possible in this game, unfortunately. I'll try it when the game finally arrives. But I wonder if you fuse Bulma and Vegeta, if it'd create Trunks. There's a thought. Aside from weird and wonderful fusions and customization options, the game does feature some real gameplay in the form of turn-based battle system. By exploring the world and meeting new characters, you can form a party of up to 5 characters, and then take on enemies in the fusion world. It's down to you to select attacks and give your enemy a real scene to, choosing from basic close-range melee moves to energy ball attacks and consuming ki. You can even perform a move called Maxi Fusion, an ultimate attack which allows you to fuse together your entire party and deal devastating amounts of damage to your enemy. But remember, when recruiting your team of feud badasses, it's important to keep in mind each character's strengths and weaknesses in their power, technique and speed triangle. So how did Dragon Ball Fusions review? Well, in issue 1443 of Japanese Gaming Mag Famitsu, the game received a total score of 8889, which comes to 33 out of 40, which is the same review score that Dynasty Warriors Aiketsuen got in the same issue, but 2 points under what Etrian Odyssey 5 got. So a pretty decent score, but by no means mind-blowing. In terms of sales, on its first week, Dragon Ball Fusions came in at number 2 on the Japanese gaming charts, falling just behind the other RPG debutante, Atlus's Etrian Odyssey 5, The End of the Long Myth, which sold 92,518 copies, whereas Fusion shipped 77,509 units. While the game may not be smashing the Japanese gaming charts or putting critics in a complete spin, Dragon Ball Fever is definitely here to stay in Japan, at least for the meanwhile, as figures continue to sell amazingly well, both new and old in hobby stores, and a sequel to Dragon Ball Xenoverse is coming our way soon. Onto a bit of import guidance. As with any Nintendo 3DS game that you're thinking of importing, the Nintendo 3DS is indeed region locked, which means you can only play Japanese 3DS games on a Japanese 3DS console. Recently I did a guide on how to import your own Japanese 3DS console. If you're interested, so you can find it up here on screen somewhere. Also, it goes without saying that the narrative is gonna be in Japanese, so if you can't read Japanese, that is a bit of an issue. I mean, most Dragon Ball games have kind of a limited kind of story anyway, you can pretty much get the gist, but it definitely does help if you know a bit of Japanese. As with most Japanese games targeted at a mixed audience, there is hiragana in the script, which means it's quite easy to read, and any kanji is supplemented by furigana, so you can pick it up and read it quite easily, which makes it a really good study guide, just like yokai games, which I mentioned in the last Import Watch episode. A word of warning, Dragon Ball Fusions is by no means the cheapest game on the market at the moment. I don't know if it's just because our British pound is currently in the gutter at the moment following Brexit, but I picked it up on PlayAsia for about £40.70, which is quite expensive for a 3DS game. That's kind of in the lines of like Pokemon and Fire Emblem games, you know, like proper Nintendo first party, which I think on the US conversion was about $52.99, so yeah, pretty pricey, and that was the cheapest I could find it. That was on PlayAsia. I also had a quick check of Nippon Yasan, no cheaper there. Bear in mind that's without shipping, so plus customs or taxes or anything else that you might be owed, it could get expensive. There's currently no news on a worldwide release of the game, but if history is anything to go by, there's a chance the game could see release outside Japan, as the latest 3DS Dragon Ball game, Dragon Ball Z Extreme Budokan, launched in the US, EU and Australia 4 months after its original release. However, there have been a few recent handheld Dragon Ball games which haven't made the jump, including Dragon Ball Kai Ultimate Budokan on Nintendo DS and Dragon Ball Heroes Ultimate Mission 1 and 2 on 3DS. If you're willing to take the chance and import this one like me, you're definitely in for a weird and strange adventure with your crazy fused Dragon Ball characters with their really weird names. So let me know if you do decide to get this one, or if you're going to plan and wait and see if it gets a worldwide launch. We'll see, who knows, it's a pretty much 50-50 one with this. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up, a like, and share it with the world. That's the best way to support this channel, is to share these videos. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Bye!